What's up, guys, and welcome back to Shredcraft RC. I'm Cam, and as many of you know, I really love filming cars and RC cars. And if you guys have been with the channel for a while, I hope that you've seen some of my shorts that I have up here on YouTube. I get a lot of questions asked all the time, what camera do I use to film those shots? Simple answer, GoPro Hero 10 Black. GoPro was kind of the industry standard back in the day for action cameras. And nowadays there's a lot more advanced cameras in a smaller package that are a lot lighter. But for the RC drift car, when I'm filming shorts with the GoPro Hero 10, what I normally do is just use a piece of double-sided tape and I stick it on the roof. And since we are sliding on a polished concrete surface with these RC drift cars, tend not to need any dampening or shock absorption. It's a smooth surface, there's not a lot of shake in the camera, and some double-sided tape is quite effective in capturing the shot. And this lens can vary digitally through the sensor from ultra wide, which they call super view, to wide, to narrow, to a linear view with horizon stabilizing. So one of the reasons why I've been using the GoPro Hero 10, it just works. It's effective, it's simple, and just by mounting it onto the roof and double-sided tape, I'm able to capture the shots I want to capture. Moving forward, I wanted to capture some higher quality shots and use this camera that I'm filming with right now, my Sony A7R II. The weight alone of a mirrorless camera being mounted onto a lightweight 1,000-gram RC drift chassis isn't quite feasible. It makes it kind of difficult, and I'm afraid that the car's not going to be able to keep up. But what if I wanted to film some real cars with this high quality camera? Let me show you this idea I've been working on. Bam! So this is an Arma Vendetta, something that I've had for a while and it's just been sitting in the closet. I took it on a few speed runs and this rig gets up to 70 miles an hour straight out of the box. You can see the size difference of it between the drift car and the size of this thing, which I think they consider 1/7 scale. What I've done here is I threw on a censored Hobbywing Max 10 ESC in the paired motor. This is the 3665. I believe it's a 3200 kV motor. I can't see the specification on there right now. And then what I want to do is build a rig in order to mount this mirrorless camera on top of it in the hopes of being able to film some actual cars and just for an experiment. Now there are some cool videos out here on YouTube of guys that have built full-on cinema rigs and they mount their 3-axis gimbals up on top, and they're usually using a Traxxas X-Max or a larger platform that's able to support the weight of a gimbal and a DSLR. And obviously a drift car isn't going to be able to support the weight of a camera of this size. So I have some ideas to use some angled aluminum and some standoffs and build off some factory mounting locations here to see if I can mount this camera on, and then use some silicone vibration dampeners to hopefully take the shake out of the camera. Now, the point of this, to use this chassis compared to, let's say, my Hammer Ray, is that this has a low center of gravity. I'll be able to keep the camera low and it'll be nice and stable. That paired with the censored motor will give me nice smooth control of the car with the camera on it. And then the essence of this is that it's a motorized dolly, right? So I'll be able to film smooth car shots, let's say at a car show or something of that nature. But then in the future, like I was saying before, mounting a mirrorless camera onto a drift car may be difficult, but I do have my stock RD2 chassis here and maybe see if I can mount it on there. That way I'll be able to use it to film drift cars in the future as well. So we're going to use this Arma as the development platform and see if this is a viable idea or just a huge waste of time. So I'll show you what I got going and how I've brained up this idea. Some of the bits I've constructed. Now I didn't go out and buy anything. This is all out of the scrap box. Show you here I have some 60mm standoffs. These have a silicone dampener that's going to isolate the vibration from the chassis to this camera mount that I built. Now this is a piece of aluminum stock, and then actually the tail section that I had designed for the LP86 drift car, along with a piece of angled aluminum again out of the scrap box. Drilled some holes, measured the distance between the two mounting points on the chassis there, and then I just threaded on a simple ball head mount. I'm not sure if that's going to be secure enough. I may have to come up with a more secure solution, but I think as long as I'm keeping the speeds fairly slow, it should be safe on this ball head. Mirrorless cameras are light compared to other full frame DSLR cameras. So I'm going to switch you guys over to the GoPro and then set up a little time lapse, let's say, of getting this mounted onto the chassis. So here's my A7R II, and the goal is to mount this something like that onto the chassis, lower center of gravity, a chassis sustainable enough to hold the weight. And then I got my standoffs with the dampeners here and the plate that I assembled here, some hex screws, and I'll go ahead get it assembled. Here we have it assembled onto the chassis. Definitely very simple, very lightweight, very basic, but I can lift the whole car from the mount. The camera has a little shake. That's something that worries me. And then this is a 28mm autofocus lens, but I have something in order to make this better for follow cams and being on a dolly. You tend to want to have a wider angle lens when you're doing dolly shots or rolling. It will help reduce the shake, give you a larger frame of view. But the next thing to do now is throw a battery in this thing and then see if we can't give it a little test, get some shots. And what I was talking about, for anyone who had filmed maybe some action sports, skateboarding, whatever, back in the day, you guys may remember the Sentry fisheyes everyone ran. Well, this is a version of that. It's not a Sentry. This is the XIT Pro. It's a high def wide angle lens, and then I got a ring adapter to mount onto this lens, so then this will give me a nice wide frame of view. So we'll give that a shot along with the stock 28mm, kind of get some running footage, see if this is a viable option or not. But so far I think it looks pretty cool. Didn't have to do anything too crazy. I mean, the most difficult part of this really was just cutting and drilling some aluminum, and that's something anyone can do at home with some basic hand tools. I literally used a hacksaw and a file and my electric drill. Let's get a battery going and see if this thing can get some steady footage or not. All right, I got a battery here. I'm just gonna start out with a 2S battery. We're not trying to go fast or anything. This is merely to see if this concept's gonna work. Strap this thing in here, plug that in. Got my transmitter. Looks like still need to set it up for this. Steering wheel's reversed. And then got throttle. So give this a quick run inside, just going slow. Check the camera shake, see how it is before going outside for a more extensive test. Maybe go film the daily mock car show type of thing. See how that goes. Cruising up in the hills with my buddy Nick, and yeah, this is my buddy Nick. What are we in today?
2018 Audi RS3.
And I figured this was a beautiful subject to film with a new RC camera dolly. Figure we'd test it out with this car, and we'll get some shots of it. So stay tuned and check it out. Alright, so it's definitely a little more shaky than I thought it was going to be, but don't worry, the day was not at a loss. We actually still shot some really cool photos, and it was just a good opportunity to catch up with an old friend, have a good time like we used to back in the day, filming our cars and enjoying the beautiful weather. When I initially did the tests, I did them inside, ran them on ultra smooth floors, and I'll throw some of the clips in. I just kind of walked next to the camera to check the shake, and it was a little shaky. I also modified the design slightly just to help with some of the shock absorption. Driving on asphalt and driving on a smooth linoleum floor is completely different. So unfortunately, even with digital stabilization, a bunch of these shots are still probably way too shaky to use, especially in like a professional atmosphere. So waste of time building it maybe, but having fun with a good friend, not a waste of time. So I'll be sure to throw in some of those photos that we took so you can check them out. Fun afternoon with a really cool car, good buddy, playing around with cameras. What, can't really be mad about that. I'll throw some of that stuff in so you guys can check it out. Well, that was still a bunch of fun to shoot and play around and experiment. I always love playing with cameras, especially with different ideas. And it's not only RC drift cars. It's just such a small niche in this hobby. And I'm trying to expand my horizons and maybe make some more content showing you guys what I do outside of just RC drift cars. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. And be sure to come back for more awesome RC content from Shredcraft RC. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.